course, is the judge. Brian, to date, President Obama has issued 167 executive orders, and according to the White House, not going to end there. So what does that mean for the government if President Obama will just use his State of the Union address tonight to vow to make more executive orders if those darn congressmen don't cooperate? Here right now is Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, we understand this was embargoed until 6 this morning, that the president is going to sign an executive order, the first one in this latest wave of threats, where he will raise the federal minimum wage to contract workers who work for the federal government to $10.10 an hour. How could he do that?
Well, he has tried several times to get the Congress to raise the federal minimum wage, meaning the Congress would say this is the least amount of money that everybody has to be paid per hour. And Congress has declined to do it.
Right.
But on his own, he raised the federal minimum wage for contractors who work for the federal government. How can he do that? Congress has written legislation that gives the president that kind of leeway. But when the president does what Congress just declined to do, is he really doing the right thing? Or is he becoming almost like a Congress himself? That's the fear that those of us who monitor these things have about what he's going to announce tonight. Remember last week when he said, I have a pen and I have a phone, and I can use them if I can't get Congress to cooperate with me. He can only go so far with that pen and that phone. He can veto, of course.
Sure.
But when he starts enacting executive orders, which basically tell the executive branch of government how he wants them to work, if he does so in a way that frustrates or changes or substantially modifies the law Congress has written, he's becoming a Congress unto himself.
Well, you know what? We've talked about it on this program. He's done that with Obamacare. Let's take a look at some notable executive orders and actions. He has sealed presidential orders back in 2009. In 2010, delayed Obamacare. You know, that's happened 20 times as well. Changed deportation policy for illegal immigrants. That's the Dreamer thing. And directs the government to prepare for climate change.
Changing deportation policy, whatever you think of the legal rights of immigrants should be, his changes were so profound. There were pages and pages and pages of changes that he wrote, which effectively changed the law by saying, if you're here illegally, I'm not going to deport you unless you do this, 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 and this. And those four thises, he made up, not the Congress.
I know it.
So we are in danger of a president trying to make law rather than just enforce the law, which is what the Constitution says the president is supposed to do.
And if he changes the law to the point where they need more money to run the new changes, that's not going to happen because the money's got to be appropriated from Congress.
Theoretically, yes. But he does have his friends at the Federal Reserve.
Sure. I got to ask you about something we've been covering here on Fox, and you talked about it last week. The Little Sisters were being compelled under Obamacare to provide prescriptions and contraceptives for women who work for them. They said, we stand stridently against that, and now the Supreme Court extraordinarily has acted in their behalf.
You use the exact right word, extraordinarily. It's absolutely unique, extremely rare for the Supreme Court to grant an injunction, meaning before they hear the case, before they read all the briefs, and before they hear oral argument, they predict which side is going to win and decide whether or not they should rule right away. They did that with the Little Sisters of the Poor. They said it is more likely than not that you will win. It is more likely than not that the mandate that requires you, Roman Catholic nuns, to make abortion, sterilization, euthanasia, and contraception available to your order and to those who work for your order is unconstitutional. This will be a very, very significant ruling on Obamacare when the Supreme Court makes this preliminary ruling final this spring.
Perhaps a preview of coming attractions.
Yes.
Judge, thank you very much.
Oh, pleasure, Stevie. Have a good one.
You as well. All right, 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Coming up, first they mocked Greg Abbott for being in a wheelchair down in Texas, and now some people are saying he's making up the wheelchair thing. And they want him to prove that he needs a wheelchair. We're not kidding. That story coming up. And your comments poured in on this story yesterday. The way to keep your wife happy, guys,